What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman. We're actually going to break down two things in today's video. The first of which is a group of leaks seemingly spanning the entire Phase 4, also implicating Keanu Reeves as playing a villain and not a hero, as many of us suspected in this fourth phase of the MCU. The second of which is a confirmation regarding a certain villain in Taskmaster, and confirmation as to whether Taskmaster is a he or a she, given some of the rumors lately that they were going to gender bend the character. We're going to break down everything, the leaks and the footage shown at the Russian Comic-Con, but first, if you could grab the subscribe button. We're giving away 2 PlayStation 4 Pros, as well as a whole slew of other Marvel-related stuff, including copies of Avengers Endgame and Blu-ray and DVD. In fact, this will be the last week for that giveaway. All you have to do, hit the subscribe button, then hit the notification bell, leave a like and a comment on this video, and if you want, stick around to the end of the video. We'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there. So, of course, first things first, the normal disclaimer and spoiler warning. Because these leaks are coming specifically from 4chan, one of the most anonymous sites of them all, take them with a grain of salt. At this point here at the channel, even leaks that come from reputable sources, everyone from Mikey Sutton all the way over to MCU Cosmic, we still tell you to take it with a grain of salt, but especially these. Also, if this is somehow going to spoil your movie-going experience, go ahead and back out now. Otherwise, let's jump right in. And starting at the top, Taskmaster is being played by Viggo Mortensen. Ray Winstone plays Black Widow's father in flashbacks. Now, we already knew that Ray Winstone was cast and would be playing probably her father or some other character like that, and there's already been some pretty good guesses as to who Taskmaster character could be. But over the last week, there have been rumors that Marvel might intend on gender bending the characters. It would be somewhat of a twist if it turns out one of the females cast was actually playing that character. This leak would seem to confirm that it's being played by a male, and the reason I said we'd break down the footage that was shown at the Russian Comic-Con just a couple of days ago is that some of the other people have said you see Taskmaster clearly, and there's no indications that it's actually a woman from what you can tell from the clothing. But do remember, he is a masked villain, so it could turn out somewhere down the road they end up doing this. It would be very interesting also if they did in fact cast Viggo Mortensen to play Taskmaster. There were reports that he had already taken a meeting with Marvel Studios and could be cast in an upcoming role, but it would be awesome if they were able to cast him as a villain and then keep it under wraps this long, especially an actor of Viggo Mortensen's ilk. That would be an amazing cover-up. We'll have to wait and see. Moving on, the Eternals feature young Odin and a brief appearance from young Thanos and Ego as well, and this makes a lot of sense. The Eternals is set to span thousands of years over the universe, so it would be nice to see some of these older celestial creatures. Ego, not exactly a celestial, but there at the beginning of the universe. We also know that Thanos' involvement was probably a given, considering he's a deviant, and it's the deviants that square off against the Eternals. Their job here to protect us from the deviants, that's humankind, and if the leak is correct, they'll actually be warring over the tome of the space god to stave off the celestials from coming to judge humankind. Either way, we've all been guessing for a while that a young Thanos would be involved with this movie, and it's going to be interesting to see if they do any in fostering his hatred for humankind or push his plot forward so that we can better understand his motivations, not only for culling half of the universe, but his hatred for specifically Earth in the Infinity Saga that we just saw play out throughout the last 3 phases. Moving on and deeper into Phase 4, Jamie Chung and Harry Shum Jr. are cast as Liko Wu and Moving Shadow respectively in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Sam Rockwell will also return as Justin Hammer, and a lot of people had called for that, considering that the Mandarin is an arch-villain of none other than Tony Stark, and if he can't get to Stark directly, another person who feels upstaged by Tony Stark, Justin Hammer, especially a loser on the technology side of things, would definitely be willing to buy into someone who had, well, rings of power. Either way, personally, I thought Sam Rockwell was one of the best parts of Iron Man 2, and I would be happy to see him return in the later part of Phase 4. Moving on to the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness leak, this introduces Clea and Brother Voodoo, which we already knew was probably going to happen. Marvel wants Keanu for the role of Nightmare, while Scott Dickerson wants Lakeith Stanfield to play the role of Brother Voodoo. Marvel wants Keanu for Nightmare. Now, I think of Keanu Reeves more as a hero type. We know there's that famous clip of the Russos talking about which hero he should play. They named Adam Warlock, although he's probably a little too old at this point. Either way, de-aging software or not, I think it would be very interesting for Keanu to take up the role of a villain. It's something outside of his normal wheelhouse, and probably one of the strongest typecast characters across all of sci-fi and superhero bounds. He's been in almost everything spanning the decades. I would love to see him for that exact reason in the opposite role, instead of playing a hero, playing the villain, but it's very hard for me to see, and honestly, Marvel blowing the chance having the actor like Keanu Reeves, putting him in a one-off role like Nightmare the villain, and I also think from Keanu's standpoint as well, if he was going to end enter something like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he would want a character and lock down one of those 8 or 9 movie contracts similar to some of the main characters and the contracts they've had through the first 3 phases or going into phase 4. But again, time will tell. It'll be interesting to see if we ever get Keanu Reeves in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Moving on, throughout these leaks, Spider-Man 3 will not have a Spidey Avenger team up. Craven is the main villain, and John Watts, the director, wants Greg Kinnear and Maya Hawke for roles, most likely Norman Osborn and Gwen Stacy respectively. And there's a couple of things I want to say about this. First of which being Spidey not having an Avengers team up. Now, the original contract for the sharing agreement between Sony and Disney said that there had to be at least one A-list Avenger and then one ancillary Avengers character in every Spider-Man movie, and you've seen that up until now. Now, there could be a different agreement going forward in the arrangements that they've got, but I also can't see Sony wanting to originate characters like Gwen Stacy or Norman Osborn inside of the MCU if they don't know past 2 movies if they'll still be there. Now, we've heard rumors and confirmations, possibly by Tyrese Gibson, that whole Spider-Verse over at Sony is meant to cross over with the MCU somewhere down the road. But guys, let's face it, if they got into a tiff over one character and it took an actor, not either of the studio heads or lawyers, to bring them back to the table in Tom Holland, then I highly doubt that this is going to go much further. I think that we should count our blessings while we've got them. Just hope that they can wrap up Tom Holland's Spider-Man story in a meaningful way in the MCU with the last 2 movies they've got, and I strongly believe you will see at least some Avengers Spidey interaction, whether it's crossing over into a new team like the Fantastic Four. That's a different story, but it would be hard for me to believe you'll see no Avengers in the next Spider-Man movie. Also hard for me to believe that they'd be introducing Norman Osborn in the MCU this late in the game. Moving forward onto Thor: Love and Thunder, this leak is super interesting. Gore the God Butcher is the main villain, which we already knew from a leak earlier in the summer. Thor: Love and Thunder will also feature Ryan Gosling playing Gore the God Butcher. Jamie Alexander returns as Sif. 2 things: we already knew Jamie Alexander was set to return as Sif, but also that Ryan Gosling playing Gore the God Butcher is a little unbelievable. He did meet with Taika Waititi. There was a meeting, people saw it, but it doesn't mean he was meeting for this movie in particular. You guys got to know Taika Waititi does at least 2 or 3 movies a year. He's constantly involved in projects. It would make sense he was cast for something else. I just don't see Ryan Gosling in this role. I know that it'll be played mostly by a mocap. He could do some very interesting voice work, but it would just seem like a very weird choice for him. But again, Taika Waititi, the director that he is, a weird choice like that could be exactly what he's looking for in that role. And then these leaks conclude with Blade is set for February of 2022. Anthony Fuqua will direct. Werewolf by Night is the main villain, and Larry the Cable Guy is campaigning to play Abraham Whistler. I had heard about that Larry the Cable Guy campaign. We get hit up all the time here at Everything Always by smaller actors who are campaigning for their roles in the MCU. We have not, for the record, endorsed a single one of them. We leave that to the casting directors, although I certainly and personally appreciate the gumption of a lot of these small-time actors who know this may be their only chance, and if they get enough fans on board, hey, look what happened with Shang-Chi. He hit up the studios and they cast him. It could happen for anybody. Either way, I think an early release in 2022 is most likely for Blade. Think about how awesome that's going to be. We're going to get Blade and Black Panther back to back. Not sure that those two are going to cross, at least not for a while, however, until maybe a huge team-up movie. It's hard for me to see how Blade makes his way over to Wakanda. Then again, as crazy as the Marvel Cinematic Universe has gotten, that could absolutely happen. Jumping over to the Comic-Con footage that they did show in Russia most recently in the last 2 days, they went ahead and showed almost the exact same trailer they showed at San Diego Comic-Con. It took a couple of days for us to get actual confirmation from, 2 or 3 sources that this was the case, but what they all had to say in response to this question of gender-bending Taskmaster is, from what they could tell, he's still just a guy. Now, either way, he is a masked villain. We're not going to find out his gender, probably not in this movie, and it's not a big deal to me whether they gender bend this character or not at all. I do think it would be an interesting twist if one of Yelena Belova or another one of her sisters ended up being Taskmaster as he reveals himself, but for him to do that in this movie would be a departure from the normal character origin, and also I don't think you need a twist of that type. I think all the females cast that we've seen, Rachel Weisz and the rest of them, will probably just have something to do with Black Widow's storyline and building out the Red Room lore. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments about all of these leaks. some which are believable, some which are not. I definitely don't see Ryan Gosling playing Gore the God Butcher or Keanu Reeves playing Nightmare, but hey, I might be wrong about both of those. Again, let me know what you think specifically in the comments about all these leaks, and let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. Alright, we're still giving away 2 PlayStation 4 Pros, the next of which is at the 500,000 subscriber mark. We are headlong into that and should hit that by mid-month, if not month's end. We're also giving away copies of Avengers Endgame and Blu-ray and DVD. This is the last week for that giveaway before we switch up the prizes. If you want to be entered to win any of this stuff, the PlayStations, the DVDs and Blu-rays, or any of the new prizes we're giving away, like one of those limited edition box sets, all you have to do, hit the subscribe button, then hit the notification bell, leave a like and a comment on this video, and because it's random, the more videos you like and comment on, the better chance you have of winning. My name's Michael Roman. This is Everything Always. Guys, thanks for checking out the channel and stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.